Hi everyone. Now today we have discussed about some problems based on chapter number 5. Now problem number 1, the linear momentum of a particle as a function of time t is given by p is equal to a plus bt, where a and b are positive constant. What is the force acting on the particle? Now momentum is given and we want to find out the force. Then we know that force is equal to rate of change of momentum. Okay, therefore the force means using Newton's second law, that is force F, which is equal to dp by dt. Okay, therefore F is equal to d by dt of that momentum p is given. What is a p? P is equal to a plus b t. Okay, now that is d by dt of a plus bt. Then this is d by dt of a plus b is constant, that is d by dt of t. Okay, now a is a constant, therefore differentiation of constant is 0. A is a positive constant, therefore differentiation of constant is 0, plus b, then dt by dt of t, which is equal to 1. Therefore in that case the force acting on a particle when momentum p is a plus bt is only b. Now this is the force. Okay, when momentum p is equal to a plus bt, then the force acting on the particle is only p. Now we have to see problem number 2. Now problem number 2, calculate the time needed for a net force of 5 Newton to change the velocity of 10 kg mass by 2 meter per second. First write down what is given. Okay, we want to find out the time needed for a net force. Net force F is given, that is 5 newtons, to change the velocity of 10 kg, that is mass is given as 10 kg. Okay, and its velocity is changes by 2 meter per second, that is change in velocity is 2 meter per second, and we have to calculate the time needed. Okay, means that is delta t we want to find out. Force is given, mass is given, and change in velocity is given, and we have to find out the change in time or the time required for that process. We know that one formula, that is impulse, okay, which is equal to impulse we have to denote as delta p. Impulse, that delta p, which is equal to, okay, that is F into delta t. Okay, impulse is delta p which is equal to F into delta t. Then you know that delta p means change in momentum. Okay, that is change in momentum means that is mass into change in velocity. That is delta p we have to write as m into delta v, which is equal to F into delta t. Okay, we know mass is given, delta v is given, force is given, then we have to find out delta t. Therefore delta t, which is equal to m into delta v divided by F. Okay, therefore time needed is m. M is 10 kg into change in velocity is 2 meter per second, and force in that case is 5 newton, that is 20 by 5. Therefore in that case the time needed is 20 by 5 means 4 seconds. Therefore the time needed for that process is 4 seconds. Now we have to see problem number 3. Now problem number 3, a ball of mass m is thrown vertically upward from the ground and reaches a height h before momentarily coming to rest. If g is the acceleration due to gravity, what is the impulse received by the ball due to the gravity force during its flight? Okay, now what happened? Now initially a ball of mass is m thrown vertically upward. Okay, initially the ball is throwing in a vertically upward direction and it reaches to some height h. Okay, then again it comes back to the ground. Okay, when it reaches to a maximum height, we know that at a maximum height velocity component along y axis, that is vy, is 0. Okay, Now initially when you have thrown the ball in an upward direction, its initial velocity is v0. A ball is thrown with the initial velocity v0, okay, and it reaches to a certain height h. Okay, then what happen? The ball again go back to the ground. Okay, now the ball is at this side, then the ball is reaches to the ground. Okay, and when it finally reaches to the ground, the velocity, that final velocity is v. Okay, if we have to neglect the air resistance, if there will be no air resistance, in that case whatever the velocity when the ball reaches to the ground is same as that of the initial velocity. Okay, if air resistance is 0, then whatever the velocity when the ball reaches to the ground, okay, is same as the initial velocity. Okay, now in that case we have to find out the impulse, okay, during its flight. Okay, means in all complete process, flight means when ball reaches to a certain height and returns to the same position for that process. Okay, this is the known as a flight. Flight means the ball starts from initial position and reach to a maximum height and again come back to the same position, that is known as flight. Okay, and in that case we have to find out the impulse in a flighting case. Okay, now this solution. Okay, now first we have to find out the initial velocity. Means if you have find out initial velocity, then if we have to neglect the air resistance, then final velocity when the ball reaches to the ground is same as the initial velocity. Okay, now if, okay, now means here air resistance neglected. Okay, therefore whatever the initial velocity, the magnitude of initial velocity is equal to, that is final velocity. Okay, now this is equation number 1. Now we have to find out the initial velocity. Now that during the ascent, okay, during ascent means when the ball is starts from initial position and reaches to a maximum height. During ascent the ball travels a distance is h. Okay, during ascent it's the initial velocity. During ascent initial velocity is v0. Okay, initial velocity is v0 and that is final velocity. Okay, during ascent initial velocity is v0 and final velocity is, that is vy, which is equal to 0. Therefore using kinematic equation, and what is its initial position? Okay, initial position here y0, which is equal to 0. Okay, or initial position, that is y0, which is equal to 0, and final position, okay, final position, that is y, which is equal to h. Okay, from that what change in y component, which is equal to h, means along y axis it can change the y component is h. Okay, therefore using kinematic equation, that is v square, which is equal to v0 square plus 2a into, that is x minus x0, means here we have to say that y minus y0, that is delta y. Okay, v square is equal to v0 square plus 2a into delta y. What is v square? That is final velocity. Okay, that is vy, we have to say, that is final velocity. Okay, which is equal to 0, which is equal to v0 square. We have to find out the initial velocity. Okay, then plus here acceleration is acceleration due to gravity, that is minus g, therefore minus 2g into delta y, which is equal to height, means along y axis how much the ball travel, that is h. Okay, if you shift that v square in left hand side, it is become minus v0 square, which is equal to minus 2gh. We have to cancel that is minus and minus, then v square is equal to 2gh. Then v square is equal to 2gh. Okay, that is v naught square is equal to 2gh. Okay, if you are taking square root on both sides, then v naught is equal to under root 2gh. Okay, this initial velocity is under root 2gh. Okay, now this ball is moving in a upward direction, therefore initial velocity is positive. When it goes in a downward direction, that is final velocity, the direction of final velocity is in downward direction, therefore the final velocity is negative. Okay, the direction of, that is initial velocity direction is upward. Okay, initial velocity direction is upward, therefore it is positive, and final velocity when it reaches to the ground, its direction is downward, therefore it is negative. Okay, therefore from that, okay, we can say that that is final velocity v, which is equal to minus under root 2gh. Okay, now in that case the air resistance is 0, therefore whatever initial velocity is there, okay, that initial velocity is equal to final velocity when ball reaches to the ground. Okay, everyone understand this? Initial velocity is under root 2gh, therefore if the air resistance is 0, magnitude of initial velocity is equal to magnitude of final velocity, but this initial velocity goes in an upward direction, therefore it is positive, and final velocity goes in a downward direction, therefore it is negative. Okay, now using kinematic equation, during the ascent we have to find out the initial velocity v naught. From that we have easily say that final velocity is minus, means that is final velocity direction is opposite, that is in downward direction, therefore minus sign we have to take, that is final velocity is equal to minus 2g under root 2gh. Therefore in that case, that is impulse during its flight. Okay, therefore impulse during its flight. Okay, therefore impulse during its flight we ought to find out. We know that impulse, which is equal to delta p, which is nothing but delta p is nothing but m into delta v. Okay, impulse is equal to m into delta v. Okay, that is delta v is nothing but change in velocity, therefore m into change in velocity, means that is final velocity. Okay, during this flight, okay, what is the final velocity? Final velocity is v, and what is its initial velocity? Initial velocity is v naught, therefore during its flight m into delta v, okay, means m delta v is nothing but change in velocity, that is change in velocity means final velocity minus initial velocity. Now this is m into what is the final velocity? Final velocity is minus under root 2gh minus what is the initial velocity? Initial velocity is under root 2gh. Okay, now we have to take the magnitude of impulse. Okay, magnitude of impulse is, that is m into, that is minus under root 2gh minus under root 2gh means minus 2 under root 2gh. Okay, now if you have take its magnitude, then this is magnitude minus become plus, therefore 2m into under root 2gh. Okay, this m into minus 2, it is become only, we have to take a positive value, that is 2m under root 2gh. Okay, now we have to take this 2m inside the square root, then it is become under root, that 2 square is 4 and m square is m square into 2gh. Okay, if you have take that 2m inside the square root, then it is become 4m square, then this is 2, that 4 into 2 is 8, that is 8m square gh. Therefore in that case during the flight the impulse is under root 8m square g into h. Now we have to see problem number 4. Now problem number 4, a constant force acting on a body of mass 3 kg changes its speed from 2 meter per second to 3.5 meter per second in 25 seconds. The direction of motion of the body remains unchanged. What is the magnitude and direction of the force? We have to find out magnitude and direction of the force. First, write down what is given. A constant force acting on a body of mass. Okay, mass of the body is given, that is 3 kg. Its initial speed. Initial speed V0 is 2 meter per second, and its final speed. Okay, initial speed is 2 meter per second, then final speed is 3.5 meter per second. That is, final speed is 3.5 meter per second, and in that case the duration of time delta t, which is equal to 25 seconds. The direction of motion of the body remains unchanged. What is the magnitude and direction of force? Okay, then we know that using Newton's second law, okay, that is force is equal to mass into acceleration. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. Then you know that acceleration, which is equal to delta v by delta t. Okay, acceleration is equal to delta v by delta t. Therefore, m into delta v divided by delta t. Okay, acceleration is equal to delta v by delta t. Then m into, that is delta v is nothing but, that is final velocity minus initial velocity. Final velocity minus initial velocity is v0 divided by delta t. Then we have to substitute all that value and we have to find out the magnitude of force. M is 3 kg, okay, into final velocity is 3.5, okay, minus initial velocity is 2, okay, divided by the delta t is 25. Okay, therefore this is 3 into 3.5 minus 2 is 1.5. 3 into 1.5 divided by 25. 3 into 1.5 we get 4.5 divided by 25. Okay, therefore the force acting on that object is 4.5 divided by 25. We get 0.18 Newton. Therefore, the magnitude of force is 0.18 newtons. Then what is the direction of force? Okay, what is the direction of force? Okay, you know that what is the direction of force? Here force is positive, therefore it is in the same direction to that of motion. Okay, if the force is negative, then the direction of force is opposite in direction to that of motion. But here force value is positive, therefore the direction of force is same as that of the direction of motion. Okay, therefore its magnitude of force is 0.18 newtons. Okay, and the direction of force is same as that of the direction of motion because the value of force is positive. Okay, therefore the direction of force is same as that of the direction of motion, because the value of force is positive, therefore the direction of force is same as that of the direction of a motion. If the value of force is negative, then the direction of force is opposite in direction to that of motion, but in that case the magnitude of force getting a positive value, therefore it is in the same direction to that of the direction of motion. Next, problem number 6. A container of mass 200 kg rests on the back of an open truck. If the truck accelerates at 1.5 meter per second square, what is the minimum coefficient of static friction between the container and the bed of the truck required to prevent the container from the sliding off the back of the truck? Now consider this is the truck. Now this truck is moving in that direction. Okay, now this is the truck moving in that direction, and here is a container. Okay, container is put on a bed of a truck. Okay, now the truck is moving in that direction, means that is acceleration is in that direction, also the force is in that direction. Okay, now that static friction, the direction of static friction is opposite to that of applied force, means this is the direction of static friction. Okay, now this is the direction of applied force and this is the direction of static friction. Okay, then in that case we have to find out the coefficient of static friction mu. Okay, then what is the given, first write down, that is mass of the container is 200 kg. Okay, mass of the container is 200 kg and the acceleration, okay, that is acceleration is 1.5 meter per second square, and we have to find out the coefficient of static friction. Now first of all, how many forces act on that container? Okay, on that container, that is normal reactant force is in the upward direction and that is gravitational force is in the downward direction. Okay, therefore first of all draw the free body diagram, that is normal reaction force is in upward direction and gravitational force is in downward direction, and in that direction static friction will be act, and the truck is moving in forward direction, means acceleration is in that direction, means that is applied force that is in that direction. Okay, then we have to apply the Newton's second law. Okay, then along a vertical direction there will be no acceleration, therefore along vertical direction, okay, there is no acceleration. Okay, along vertical direction means along y-axis, that is n is in upward direction, therefore n minus gravitational force is in downward direction, therefore n minus mg, which is equal to 0. From that n which is equal to mg. Now this is equation number 1. Now along a horizontal direction, along horizontal direction, okay, along horizontal direction, that is f, that f is in forward direction and fs is in opposite direction, therefore f minus fs, which is equal to 0, f minus fs, which is equal to 0. And you know that f is nothing but mass into acceleration minus fs, okay, that is static friction, is equal to mu s into n, which is equal to 0. Therefore we have to substitute all that value. Okay, then from equation 1, that is n is equal to mg, therefore m into a minus mu s, and n is nothing but mg, mu s into mg, which is equal to 0. Okay, then from that ma minus mu s into mg, which is equal to 0. Then we have to find out mu s, therefore ma minus mu s into mg, which is equal to 0. Then this mu s into mg we have to shift to the right hand side, then ma, which is equal to mu s into mg, this m cancel. From that mu s is equal to a by g. Okay, mu s is equal to a by g. Now acceleration is given, then what is the acceleration? That is 1.5 and g is, we know that 9.8, therefore that is mu s is equal to acceleration is 1.5 meter per second and g is 9.8, then 1.5 divided by 9.8 we get 0.153. now this is the coefficient of static friction to prevent the boxes to fall down, okay, or that is sliding down on the back. Now this is the coefficient of static friction. Now next up, problem number 7. Now problem number 7, a bomb initially at rest at a height of 40 meter above the ground suddenly explodes into two identical fragments one of them starts moving vertically downwards with an initial speed 10 meter per second. If acceleration due to gravity is 10 meter per second square, what is the separation between the fragments, okay, 2 seconds after the explosion? Okay, in that case, what happened? Initially, a bomb is at a height of 40 meters above the ground. Okay, initially the bomb, okay, now this is ground. Initially the bomb is at a height of 40 meters above the ground. Okay, now in that case, and the bomb initially is at rest, means initial velocity of bomb is 0. Now initially bomb is at rest, means from that initial velocity of the bomb is 0 meter per second. Okay, and the initially the bomb is at a height of 40 meters. Therefore initial position of bomb, okay, initial position, this is along y-axis, therefore initial position y0 is equal to, the bomb initially is at 40 meters above the ground, therefore initial position is 40 meters. Okay, and what is its initial mass? Okay, the bomb initially is at rest, therefore initial velocity is 0 at a height of 40 meters, means its initial position is 40 meters above the ground, suddenly explodes into two identical fragments. Okay, now we have to consider that initial mass of the bomb, okay, we have to consider initial mass of the bomb is m. Okay, now initially the mass of the bomb is, we have considered as a m. Then what happened? After that the bomb will be suddenly explodes. Okay, now after explosion, okay, after explosion what happened? The bomb will be suddenly explodes into two identical fragments. Okay, after explosion the bomb is, okay, converted into two identical pieces. Okay, two identical pieces means the total mass of the bomb is m. When after explosion the bomb will be, okay, divided into two identical pieces, means what is the mass of each piece? Mass of each piece is m by 2. Therefore after explosion, okay, the mass of each fragment, okay, first fragment we have to say as a m1 and second fragment we have to say as a m2. Okay, that is mass of first fragment which is equal to mass of second fragment, means two identical fragments, means whole mass will be divided into two parts, that is m by 2. Okay, after explosion the mass of each fragment, okay, that is the bomb is divided into two fragments, therefore mass of each fragment is m by 2. Okay, now and after that they can say that one of them starts moving vertically downwards, means one fragment is moving in a vertically downwards. Here now after explosion what happened? The bomb is converted into two fragments. Okay, this is having m by 2 and this is having m by 2, and one fragment is moving in a downward direction. Now this is, we have to say fragment 1 and this is we have to say as a fragment 2. Now this fragment is moving in a downward direction with some velocity, that velocity is 10 meter per second. Now this fragment is moving in a downward direction, means its velocity is minus v. Okay, means the one fragment is moving with a vertically downward direction with a velocity 10 meter per second. Okay, therefore one of the fragment moving downward, okay, moving vertically downward with velocity means that velocity we have to say as a v1, which is equal to 10 meter per second, but this fragment is moving in a downward direction. Therefore we have to say the velocity of that fragment is minus 10 meter per second. Okay, one fragment is moving in a downward direction. Okay, then what about the another fragment? Okay, then we have to find out the another fragment moving in which direction and what is its velocity. Okay, to find out that, okay, find out the velocity of other fragment, we have to use the conservation of momentum. Okay, now using law of conservation of momentum, law of conservation of momentum. Okay, what is the law of conservation of momentum? The momentum before collision, the momentum before explosion is equal to momentum after explosion. Okay, momentum before explosion is equal to momentum after explosion. Then what is the momentum before collision? Before collision, the bomb is at rest, means its velocity is 0. Okay, before collision, mass of the bomb is m. Okay, and its velocity is 0. Okay, before collision, the momentum is mass into velocity. The mass of the whole bomb is m and the velocity of the bomb is 0. Okay, then after explosion, what is the velocity of first bomb? What is the mass of the first bomb? That is m1 into velocity is v1 plus second fragment is mass is m2 and velocity is v2. Okay, mass is m2 and velocity is v2. Here before collision, mass is m and velocity is v0. We know that mass is m and v0 velocity is 0, which is equal to what is the mass of first fragment? That is m by 2. And what is the velocity of first fragment? That is minus 10 plus mass of second fragment is m by 2 and its velocity we have to find out v2. What is the velocity? Now we know that mass is m and velocity is 0, therefore this is 0, which is equal to, this is minus 10 by 2, means that is minus 5m, which is plus, that is m by 2 into v2. Now we have to find out the velocity of second fragment. Okay, we have to shift this into left hand side. It is become minus m by 2 into v2, which is equal to minus 5m. Okay, now this m cancel and this minus cancel, then v2 is equal to 5 into 2. Therefore v2, which is equal to 10 meter per second, means the second fragment moves with a velocity of 10 meter per second and in a positive direction. Means this fragment moves with a velocity v2, which is equal to 10 meter per second and moving in a upward direction. Okay, now what is our aim? Means one fragment is moving in a downward direction and another fragment is moving in a upward direction. Now first fragment is moving in a downward direction and second fragment is moving in a upward direction. Now what we have to find out? Okay, now we have to find out what is the separation between the fragments 2 seconds after the explosion. Okay, after 2 seconds, okay, initially both are at a height of 40 meter per second, but after explosion one fragment is moving in a downward direction with a velocity 10 meter per second and another fragment moving in a upward direction with a velocity of 10 meter per second. Then what are the separation between the two fragments after 2 seconds? Now after 2 seconds we have to find out the position of first fragment and position of second fragment. Then we have to find out the difference between them, that are the separation of the fragments. Okay, now fragment after 2 seconds, the position of a fragment 1. Now after 2 seconds position of fragment 1. After 2 seconds position of fragment 1. Okay, now we have to find out after 2 seconds position of fragment 1. Okay, you know that equation, that is y minus y naught, which is equal to v naught t plus half at square. Now in that case the time is 2 seconds. Now final position we have to find out, that is we have to find out fragment 1, therefore y1 we have to consider, that is y1 minus what is the initial position. Okay, initial position of fragment 1. Okay, both the fragments are at a height of 40 meters, therefore initial position is 40, which is equal to what is the initial velocity. Okay, the initial velocity of fragment 1. Okay, what is the initial velocity of fragment 1? The fragment 1 velocity is 10 meter per second, but which is in a downward direction. Therefore, its velocity is minus 10 into, okay, what is the time? Time is 2 seconds, okay, plus half, that is acceleration is nothing but minus g, okay, that is minus 10. We have considered that acceleration is minus 10 into t square. T is 2, therefore 2 square. Therefore y1 minus 40, which is equal to minus 20 into 2, that is minus 40. Okay, then this is minus 10 divided by 2 is minus 5, then 2 square is 4, that is minus 40. Okay, that is minus 40, sorry, see here, minus 10 into 2 is minus 20, that is minus 20, that is 5 into 4 is 20. Okay, this is minus 20 minus 20 is minus 40, that is y1 minus 40, which is equal to minus 20. From that y1 which is equal to minus 40 plus 40, which is equal to 0 meter. Means that is first fragment reaches to a 0 meter, means its first fragment reaches to a ground position. Okay, 0 meter means the first fragment, okay, after 2 seconds the first fragment reaches to a ground. Okay, after 2 seconds the first fragment reaches to the ground. Next, then after 2 seconds, what is the position of a second fragment? Okay, now after 2 seconds position of second fragment, position of fragment 2. Okay, after 2 seconds the position of fragment 2, that is same using equation, that is y2 minus y naught, which is equal to v naught t plus half at square. Okay, that is second fragment position is y2 minus initial position is, that is 40 meter. Initially both fragments are at a height of 40 meters, therefore initial position is 40. And what is the initial velocity of second fragment? The initial velocity of second fragment, that is v2, is 10, that is 10 into time is 2 seconds plus half, that is acceleration due to gravity is minus 10 into t, that acceleration is always in a downward direction, therefore we have to take as a minus 10. Okay, in problem they can say that acceleration is 10 meter per second square, but its direction of acceleration is in the downward direction, therefore we have to take as a minus 10 into t is 2, therefore 2 square. Okay, therefore that is y2 minus 40, which is equal to 10 into 2, 20, that is minus 10 divided by 2 is minus 5 into 2 square is 4. This is 20 minus, that is 5 4s are 20. 20 minus 20 is 0. Therefore y2 minus 40, which is equal to 0. Therefore y2 is equal to, we have to shift minus 40 into right hand side, then it becomes 40 meters. Therefore the position of a second fragment is 40 meters. Okay, therefore the difference between the two positions of a fragment means first fragment is at ground and second fragment is at height of 40 meters, means the second fragment is at a height of 40 meters, means the second fragment after explosion, okay, after 2 minutes of explosion, which is at a 40 meters. Therefore, the separation between two fragments is y2 minus y1. Therefore, separation between two fragments are 40, that is y2 minus y1, which is equal to 40 minus 0. Therefore, separation is 40 meters. Therefore, after explosion, okay, after 2 minutes, the two fragments are separated at a distance of 40 meters from each other. Now, today we have stopped here.